What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
This episode of the Low and Slow Barbecue Show is sponsored by the Southern Barbecue Network. Since 2010, the Southern Barbecue Network has sanctioned barbecue tournaments to further their goal of preserving a Southern tradition by providing well-trained judges to contests that are raising money for charitable causes in the Carolinas. In addition to supporting charitable barbecue competitions, the Southern Barbecue Network also donates annually to numerous local community organizations, hospitals, and nonprofits. To find out more about the Southern Barbecue Network competition program and barbecue judge training classes, please visit sbbqn.com for more information. Again, that is sbbqn.com.
The Southern Barbecue Network competition season is heading to Moncks Corner, South Carolina for the Southern Barbecue Network Invitational. That's where the top competitors in the Southern Barbecue Network go head-to-head to win hardware, cash, and advance their position for the end-of-the-year standings. Today, on the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, we're going to learn all about this year's event and talk to a perennial favorite in the Southern Barbecue Network competition world. We have with us first event director Don Saturday. Don, welcome to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Glad to be here. Thank you for the invite, Sugar.
Also joining us from Ultimate Tailgaters, a multi-time grand champion and four-time Southern Barbecue Network Cook Team of the Year, including 2024, is Chris Fulmer. We've had the pleasure of having him on the podcast in the past, and we're so excited to have you back again. Chris, welcome back.
Appreciate you guys having me back, and look forward to talking some barbecue here in the next hour. Sounds good.
All right. Before we get on to any of the talk, we want to give our audience some nuggets of wisdom, and we're going to go to Chris for that. Chris, we talk about having a recipe and providing that to our audience, and obviously you can run the gamut of options, but I offer you an opportunity to share a little bit of wisdom in cooking and recipes, and maybe give our audience something that they can take home and use on their own. So I open the floor to you. So what's a recipe for our folks?
Yeah, so I think a good rule of thumb. Everybody, when we go to competitions, whether it be on the competition side or when people come around doing tasting, everybody wants to talk about sauces. Obviously, for us at barbecue comp, sauce is part of it. We don't like to put heavily sauced things. We call it more of a glaze. So I want to talk a little bit about sauce with people. Everybody gets really caught up on that a lot, and don't try to overpower your meat. With the sauces, use a sauce or use something that's going to help to kind of accompany it. Okay, don't overpower it. What a lot of people do, what a lot of people don't realize is in most barbecue teams we don't make our sauces. I mean, we say that, and we kind of do, but we do what we call a doctor. It's what most people do out there. All right, So everybody takes one sauce, two sauce, three sauces, things you like, and meld them together. And it's always good to heat them up. And let them cool down, and then have that ready. What those sauces are, I'll be honest with you. I just like to tell people whatever you like. Everything is different. The way you cook a butt, what smoker you're on, keep in mind everything's a little different. Somebody says, "Hey, I like that. That tastes good," and they go do it on their smoker. It tastes a little different. So just keep that in mind. There's not that one thing that makes it perfect. It's what you like, and it's a lot of time and so forth. So, and these are not sauces that you're really not knocking the ones you're going to buy in a store. The typical brands you see, Kraft and Heinz, and Sweet Baby Ray's has, maybe some decent stuff. We are starting to see some of the sauces that we use in Academy and Home Depot. Not supposed to say places, but you are starting to see those on the retail market. So I would tell you, make sure you're using sauces that are of a good quality. Blues Hog, a lot of guys use Blues Hog out there. Which ones are using, everybody, cut certain things. And it's not all about the sauce either. There's certain things that are added in there. If you want to put a little bit of, light brown sugar, dark brown sugar, maple syrup, hot honey, and there's a lot of finishing sauces out there now. Heath Riles that sponsors us has about 3 or 4 things he's come out with that some people use at the end or cut into their sauce. I mean, we do that. Most people have something they cut in at the end to kind of thin it out. I think one problem is that people make their sauces too thick. And it kind of cakes on the meat or whatever it may be. So some people cut them down. They may use a little apple cider vinegar. They may use some apple juice. Heck, some people just use good old H2O, right? So, I don't know if that's like an exact recipe, but I think it's where you need to kind of head down. I think part of the fun of barbecue was coming up with your own recipes and just keeping in mind, getting some good quality stuff. Heath Riles has some great sauces they have. That you can combine together, whether it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, that's part of the fun of it. And that's part of the game for us on the competition circuit is finding what those judges are liking. And there's a little something at that end that you can do as well. So, I would tell you to play around with those type things and try those. A lot of them are, there's a regular sauce. Some people have a vinegar type base. Some have like a sweet. So you may want to combine a little bit of all three. Yeah, so that's what we do. Obviously,
Gotcha.
we change it up a little bit, but we have some things dialed in that we like, and that's what we go with. But
I got you, Chris. So let me ask you quickly before we move on and talk about the Southern Barbecue Network Invitational. Just quickly, I know that Chris, the Ultimate Tailgaters, is involved in a lot of catering activities. South Carolina Gamecocks football. I know you spend a lot of time there catering there. Do you do anything different with the sauce between the competition and what you serve out to the general public?
No, I don't.
Really?
No, same stuff. A lot of people, honestly, some barbecue teams, they try to save some money and so forth. But, I would tell you that we use the same sauces that on catering that we do. The only thing I would tell you is a little different. We do have some things we do at the very end, something we add to our sauce, especially on pork and on ribs that I don't usually do on the other just because we're doing such volume. But we do. I use the same rubs. I use the same sauces catering that I do in competition. Really do.
I'm just curious if maybe the judges have a different palate or they're looking for something different than, me walking up on the street.
No, that's, people ask me all the time. We compete all over. We go all over the Southeast. We compete mainly Southern Barbecue Network. We like the contest places we go, specifically like Moncks Corner, Don's contest down there.
Yeah.
We do some KCBS, SCBA. I don't really, people say you go to South Carolina, North Carolina. I'll be honest with you, it's tough enough pulling a trailer, getting set up, cooking, all night and getting turned in. So I may alter something ever so slightly if I talk to some friends I have, but it's hard enough doing all that than having all these combinations. So we have a thing called keep it simple. Less is more. So
rather than get complicated with different mixes and things to do on different sites. Great information. Okay. We're going to find out more about the Southern Barbecue Network Invitational coming up November 8th. It's in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. First, an invitation for our audience. Visit lowslowbbqshow.com and find out more about Southern Barbecue Network. We've got pitmaster interviews, event details, blogs, all at lowslowbbqshow.com. While you're there, sign up for the Lowdown newsletter. We'll send the latest Carolina barbecue news to your inbox on Tuesday morning. Lately, that news has included results for the Southern Barbecue Network. And so let's talk about that event coming up in Moncks Corner. And we're going to talk with Don Saturday about that. Don, tell us all about the Invitational. What is it? When? Where? Who all is involved?
Okay, Chigger, let me just add one thing. Correction. The event actually starts on the 7th of November, which is Friday. It's when the cookers come in, they check in. We have a cooker meeting, and then the process begins during the night of Friday. It's judged on the 8th, which is Saturday. I'm a member of the Moncks Corner Lions Club and have been for many, many years, and we are a service organization. We always need funds to serve the community. And so back in 1996, I'm going to give you a quick rundown here. We started a barbecue competition as a means of selling barbecue and raising funds that way. We got involved with the SBN, Southern Barbecue Network, when they approached me. I think they started in 2010 to judge our cook-off. We had already been involved in that about 14 years, starting in 96. I liked how they set up the organization. It's a great group of guys that gave feedback to the cookers, which were important to me, that each cooker that competed, the judges would tell them what they liked about their entries and what they didn't like as a means of hoping it could see that as constructive feedback. So I've enjoyed the relationship we've had with the SBN since 2010. About 10 years ago, we talked about creating a invitational championship only competition. SBN was growing. There were multiple events, and South Carolina and North Carolina was beginning to come into their competition. And so I thought maybe grand champions and reserve champions would really create an outstanding competition. So we evolved into that, as I said, about 10 years ago. And it's been very, very successful, in my opinion. Chris, he's a very humble guy. I think he's won our event more than one time. I can't remember how many. But when the other cookers see Chris come in, I know that they're kind of worried because he's going to be at the top. If he doesn't win, he's going to be near the top in every one of our events. So we pay out $10,000, and that's spread over what we have on Friday night, which is a people's choice. We refer to as an anything but competition, where cookers that want to participate will cook up something other than barbecue and serve to the public. We invite the public to come in. We also have sponsors that help fund this event. That's where our prize money predominantly comes from, and it's important to have those. So we treat them really good on Friday night. We feed them, we give them access to the cookers who are competing in the anything but, and hope that they have a good time. And so it's worked very well over the years. But on Friday night, the People's Choice, the cookers, we started doing a $50 buy-in. Each cooker that wants to participate, that has the time, they will put in $50, and we pay out $1,000. And it's spread over 3 places, first, second, and third. So it's well worth their time in many instances. However, the real competition is on Saturday, and we created a 4-meat competition. We believe that these grand champions and even reserve champions need to be tested. So we added brisket to what they typically cook in these events. And generally, it's pork, ribs, and chicken. But when you add brisket, that brings it up a little notch higher. And so we thought that would be a great addition to our competition. So what else can I tell you about it other than what I've already said?
Sure. A lot of great information there for us, Don. Let me also ask you, you mentioned the activities going on Friday and on a Saturday. I know that they'll be turning in for the judges and getting those competition scores. Are there public activities that folks can enjoy on Saturday as well, or do they need to get there November 7th?
Saturday is a work day for us. We retrieve the barbecue that's been cooked overnight. We have pre-sold in most instances about 99% of the barbecue before it's even cooked. And so we retrieve that on Saturday morning. We get it prepared and delivered to people who bought the barbecue. That's where the fundraising part really begins. We started last year successfully selling whole butts. The public likes to get a whole butt, and they'll pick those up on Friday afternoon or Friday evening, fresh off the cookers. And so that's been a popular thing now, is getting the Boston butts freshly cooked. But Saturday, as I said, primarily a work day. We get the judging done, and we pull up steaks, and that's it. We don't have any activities actually planned for the public on Saturday.
Is there a kids' queue competition this year? And tell me about that.
That was organized by the SBN, separate from what we do. I endorse that completely. I thought that's a great idea to get young people involved in the barbecue cooking processes and learn a little bit about competition. So it was a great move on the behalf of the SBN. I can't take credit for it. I can simply say it's a great, great event. I wish we had more kids that would sign up for this. And maybe, as time goes on, it will grow. So, and they each, I think they have a first, second, and third prizes and trophies. We have a local cooker that builds some outstanding barbecue cookers. Chris would know him very well, and he's actually competed with us. He puts together a couple of prizes for the first place winners, the junior and the senior division. And so he's a great guy, and these kids who participate in the Q Cup, Kids Q rather, they've got some nice prizes to look forward to.
Yep. And to let our audience know, you just visit Southern Barbecue Network's website. That's sbbqn.com. When you go to the BBQ events page, you slide down and find that SBN Invitational, click in, and there's applications for the Kids Q event. It'll tell you that kids age 6 to 16 are invited to come out and compete. They get some similar rules, all the details there at sbbqn.com if you're interested in that. So before we move over to Chris, Don, a couple final kind of wrap up questions. First, this year, how many cookers do you expect to have competing in the competition? And, from an organizer standpoint, what does it take for this to be a winner of an event?
We have 15 confirmed cookers this year. We originally set it up for 16. We had one team that had to drop out for unexpected reasons. So we do have 15 this year. What it takes to be a winner is good competition, which we've always had. I've been very proud to say we've got some of the best cookers in the Southeast that come in here from North Carolina, South Carolina. Obviously, our goal is to sell as much barbecue as we can, because that money is used to pay out. Lions Club pays out over $20,000 a year, just in various local events and helping people that need glasses and so forth. So a winner to me is we make a lot of barbecue, we sell a lot of barbecue, and the cookers enjoy the event, and the winners walk away with some nice prize money. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great perspective. And it's a nice segue over to Chris Fulmer from Ultimate Tailgaters. As I mentioned, we had you on the podcast in the past. I think it was for Bessemer City Brew and Q. We were talking about at that particular event. But if folks haven't met you or aren't familiar, maybe take just a moment to introduce the Ultimate Tailgaters and let us know what's new with you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Having me on. And so we're a competition team, been around, I guess around 15 years now. I've been competing. Mainly Southern Barbecue Network now, and do some Kansas City Barbecue Society as well. A little bit SCBA. Kind of started out in SCBA years ago, but we've kind of found a home, Southern Barbecue Network, like a lot of the venues, like the venue in where Don's at in Moncks Corner. Mm-hmm. We do about 20, 25 contests a year, and also my wife and I have a catering business as well. So we do a lot of catering. All over the South Carolina area, obviously. So we just enjoy cooking and meeting good people.
Well, so how's this competition season with Southern Barbecue Network been going for you guys?
Well, we're on a different cycle than most. Instead of on calendar year, our season ends in I guess it ends technically July 30th. So we were excited. We were SBN Team of the Year again. Which was real good. So our season starts in September. Mm-hmm. So we got off to a great start. We grand champion in 2 in a row. Then fortunately, I had a kind of a medical issue happen about a month ago in the hospital. I was down and out a little bit, and then went up to Bessemer City, tried to compete, and we did, and had a decent. We got a call up there. I think we finished 4th, I believe, and then we just competed this past weekend. Down at James Island, event we'd won actually twice, and thought we had a pretty good cook. Judges didn't seem like our chicken. I don't know why, but that happens sometimes. But we did get 4th overall down there, and got a call at second place calling pork. So far so good. We've had a good season overall, quite honestly, over the whole year. But now we're off to a good start, and looking forward to cooking the Invitational down in Moncks Corner with Don Saturday.
Yeah, so that would be a great event. As you kind of look at those competitions, how often are you looking in and peeking in at those scores between the other teams? So I took a peek over at Southern Barbecue Network's website. I see that the Rusty Porker's had a couple of great weeks, back-to-back wins, and he's coming on strong and is right now at the top of the standings. How much time do you spend kind of thinking about that sort of thing?
Well, we look at it some, but I'm the kind of guy that, I've learned that from a lot of good competition guys, you got to worry about yourself. don't worry about it. You can't control what everybody else is doing. I'm happy for other teams. Everybody knows, I'll be the first guy that goes over and congratulate those that have won and got a call. Sometimes it's not your day, and that's fine. So, but we try to, we do look, and then we're happy for others. Don't get me wrong, but we got that philosophy. You gotta take care of yourself. So that's what we worry about. Is we look at our numbers and where we need to make corrections and adjustments, and so forth. So.
Gotcha. So you get that level of feedback from the judges each time you submit. You get some feedback, so you know where you've been counted off and where you can make those adjustments. Tell us how that goes from a competition feedback.
Good question. Southern Barbecue. One thing we like about they're very similar to KCBS and their scoring style, where they do use a decimal system, but they're more in the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very similar to KCBS. They have 3 categories they judge you in. They judge you in appearance, and they judge you in basically taste, and also / aroma, and they judge you on tenderness, / texture. So, and I think that one carrying the greatest weight. All these factors are weighted as well. Appearance being the lowest weight, then basically taste and tenderness. Southern Barbecue Network, which I like, they're really what they're grading you most on is cooking that meat to the proper tenderness, whether it be a rib, a brisket, pork, and so forth. So KCBS slightly different, where they put a little more stock in the taste and the tenderness. So you have to look at the numbers. We actually kind of chart our numbers. We look and see if we see any patterns, if our taste is starting to be an adjustment. And I've seen a little change, honestly, now from the spring. I think there's probably some new judges coming in. Southern Barbecue Network has had more judging classes, so we're seeing more people judge, seeing younger people, seeing more women. So not being sexist, but women taste things differently than men. That's just a fact. Older people looking for more salt. I mean, there's certain things that go into it that probably people don't realize. And sometimes you get a little too over analytical, but you have to remember those things. So, but I've seen a little bit of a change, I think. So we may make a little, some very small adjustments. We don't change much. I don't. My recipes and all some of the same recipes I've been using for 10 plus years. So we make little tweaks. Ours are never wholesale changes. That's one thing I tell barbecue teams that come and talk to me a lot. What would you suggest? And I said, well, the first thing I suggest is don't make wholesale changes. Learn your cooker, get a good cooker. If you have a bad contest, I mean, sometimes you chalk it up. You just had a bad day. The ribs you picked maybe were not great ribs. The butts you got, unfortunately, it just wasn't your day. Go 3-4 contests at least before you make changes. Don't people you make so many changes, you don't know what change actually made it better or made it worse actually. So we try to pretty much stick to the same stuff and make very incremental changes if needed. So
that is an interesting perspective about the judges. And I do see those judges classes offered throughout the course of the year by Southern Barbecue Network. So you bring in a new flock of people, everybody's taste is a little bit different, just as you kind of pointed out, regardless of, kind of their gender or their age range. Everybody tastes things a little bit differently. And I know that Southern Barbecue Network kind of set some guidelines for, some benchmarks for what, correct is and what the best is and how to judge that. So it's interesting to hear that differentiation, but you can't really, or can you identify things that you need to change to try to contour to those younger people? You don't know who the judges are, right? You can't tell when it's going to be a 10-year judge versus a first-year judge.
Right, correct. You don't know. I think the biggest thing is probably on the Southern Barbecue side, where they do a great job, just using the same things, how they when they do the judging classes, teaching the same things. So everybody at least has got the base of it. Everybody's taste is going to be a little different, but most judges, though, I mean, appearance to a person's eyes, for the most part, appearance ought to be pretty similar for everybody. You may see it a little bit differently, but if somebody looks at a good box, they ought to judge it, obviously as a good box. Tenderness as well, which SBN does a lot with it. Tenderness is going to be pretty similar for all people. If you've got a good rib, you should know a good rib and the 2-bite rib and things we look for. Taste is the one thing that can be a little different. So everybody's palate's a little different. So that's the time when, sometimes you had a contest where maybe you thought your ribs were great and they were 4th instead of 1st. You just hit a table that wasn't that your ribs were bad. They just, that 6 judges, 5 judges, whatever at that table just didn't quite like yours or like the other one better. So that's why I say don't get, if you're ending up toward the bottom third, like 5 contests in a row, probably time to make a change in your taste and or in your tenderness. But if you're up there in the top 5 and all, and just not quite hitting it, maybe a little small change, or just catching a different table. I mean, sometimes we go in cycles. I tell you, you just get lucky and catch some good tables, and then all of a sudden you go a couple contests. And this past weekend we caught. I hope the ones that judge my chicken are not in Mutt's Corner, if you're listening, because I can tell you this: I'm cooking the same chicken I cooked this past weekend, best chicken I cooked all year.
Yeah,
it was outstanding, and I don't know, the judges didn't seem to think that, but I'm bringing the same one to.
I got you. You can tell that's still stuck in your craw just a little bit there. That's great.
Yeah.
So you guys, when you're out there on the competition scene, and I think Don mentioned you got 15 or 16 guys competing, of each competition venue that you go to, what percentage of it is, the competition guys that are out there regularly fine-tuning, looking at all those minor details versus the guys that just kind of do it as a recreational activity? And I know with the way of cost and things like that, there's not a lot of people probably taking that on as a recreational activity, but how much is the week to week competitors versus the every so often folks?
Yeah, we have a pretty good amount of SBN guys that are what we call travel the circuit now. Mm-hmm. So there's a pretty good mix. And and then sometimes it's based on areas. You got some guys that will cook some, but they don't leave the coast, or you got guys who are in the Midlands, so they'll cook the ones in the Midlands. Mm-hmm. And they're really not as much upstate with SBN, but like North Carolina, you got a lot of teams around North Carolina, a lot of good teams that will cook some of those, Bobby's event up in North Carolina, Bessemer City, Bo's Battle. So a lot of it can be regionally, where some people just don't want to travel a lot, and maybe they've got younger kids and can't, don't do the travel and all. But you got some that are like us, are tried and true, and we'll tote a trailer 30 minutes or tote it 6 hours. Wherever they're going to have a contest, where we'll go. So.
Yeah, that's great. So a great introduction to both the event and Ultimate Tailgaters. And as we kind of wrap it up, guys, I sort of make it tradition to close off with a recurring question for our guests, and that's, why do you do it? What keeps your fire burning? And Chris, I want to start with you, and then we'll let Don close it out for us. So Chris, why do you do it? What keeps your fire burning week after week after week, and then doing the catering, and then doing the games, and everything else in barbecue life?
Yeah, great question. Let me say real quick to appreciate Don Saturday. They put on an outstanding event down there, and most all the teams look forward to going to the event down there. We call things like that cooker friendly. So this is very cooker friendly. They have a great venue. It's amazing what people don't think about. We got a flat surface. We got great power. We got access to water. We got super people that take care of you. Trust me, in the barbecue world, it does matter. So hats off to Don and his crew down there. We always look forward to going and supporting his event. We've cooked it many times, and as long as we qualify, we'll be there. But what burns for me, man, I love being around people. I love cooking barbecue, and I grew up in the grocery business, and my dad did it for 50 years, and just like everybody, but my mom was an incredible cook. She had over 1,500 cookbooks. So I guess what burns me is in my background in food with my dad and my mom, and then obviously my great wife, Kathy, who's she's always there cooking with me. So we love being around people, and we love cooking. We love our barbecue family. Just like this past weekend, we had a great event at James Island. Saw a lot of great people there. And I just like going week after week. It's like Gamecock Athletics. I love going. Obviously I'm a humble guy, and we don't win a lot at South Carolina, but we've had our share of it. But I don't go for winning and losing. I go for my love of it. And so it's the same with Gamecocks and this barbecue. I go because I love it, and I enjoy being around people, and I enjoy helping people. And so until the man upstairs calls me home, I'm going to continue to do it. I can promise you that. So.
A great perspective. Don, what about you? Why do you keep organizing this year after year since its inception early on?
Well, Chigger, I guess it kind of got into my blood. This is our 29th year, which I started it, as I said, back in '96. I've enjoyed most of the years. We've gone through hurricanes. We had a freak snowstorm in Moncks Corner that we had cookers. We still put it on. So it's been interesting over these last 28, going on 29 years. It's hard work. I've been around many of these cookers for about that many number of years. I see how hard they work, and I want to give them the best opportunity to come in and be successful, and that's a reward enough for me. And of course, the Lions Club, I'd like to see that we generate revenue and we can help people in the community. So that motivates me. And how much longer? As Chris said, until God calls you home, I'll probably be out there doing something in some way. But Chris, I thank you for the compliment. We try hard to make this a good event for every cooker that comes in.
And that, my friends, is the final word from Southern Barbecue Network event coordinator Don Saturday for the Southern Barbecue Network Invitational, and Chris Fulmer from Ultimate Tailgaters. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it. See you guys at the barbecue trail.
You can join Don and Chris and the Southern Barbecue Network team on the barbecue trail in Moncks Quarter for the Lions Club Southern Barbecue Network Invitational, November 7th and 8th. The 7th is the day you want to be there for the People's Choice activities. Find out more information about sbbqn.com. And for more details about upcoming events, visit the website. There's a competition November 1st. It's the Lincolnton, Georgia American Legion Barbecue. And then, of course, the big finale for the fall season, November 15th, Vicious Pig Throwdown in Stedman, North Carolina. Stay tuned. We'll have more details on that big event coming up real soon. You can find them for yourself at Southern Barbecue Network, sbbqn.com. By the way, we interviewed Vicious Pig from the Vicious Pig Throwdown. That's Bobby Brinson and Chris Fulmer and a few other Southern Barbecue Network Pissmasters last year on the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. You can find those episodes at lowslowbbqshow.com. And while you're there, visit the blog. It has event details, barbecue news, recipes, like some of the stuff Chris shared for us today, and lots of other great details. Just sign up for our newsletter. You'll get the latest barbecue news delivered to your email inbox, along with links to new episodes and blogs every Tuesday morning. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. If you like what you hear, visit other podcasts in the Mesh network. And please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. Share our podcast with your barbecue-loving friends, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks again to our guests today from Southern Barbecue Network and Moncks Corner Lions Club, as well as Ultimate Tailgaters. And thanks to everyone on the team at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts, especially our producer, Andrew Moose. Finally, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. I'm Trigger Willard, reminding you that for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.